Hey, folks. So today I'm going to get a little personable with you. I'm going to let you in on four of the things that I do that helps me get through my PTSD, um, helps me keep it at bay, but, and then I'll also explain what I do when it comes on. All that today on this episode. I'm Laoch, and this is Laoch's When the Hammer Drops. So I'll give you a little background here first before we jump right in. Back in 2016, I was diagnosed with PTSD. I went through a traumatic event that year, and it really escalated really fast for me. I went from being my normal self, and I just started going down fast. It was like crash and burn. I didn't know what the hell was going on, to be honest with you. And so I went to the doctor. And I started talking and they asked me how I was feeling. And, I let them know, the things that were going through my head, the lack of sleep, the nightmares, all this stuff. And eventually ended up being diagnosed with having PTSD. Now, PTSD affects millions of people around the world. Chances are, if you've been in a traumatic event, it could be a car accident, it could be, sexually abused as a young minor, bullied, stuff like that. All that stuff can create, just so much mental anguish on you, and it just kind of fires off, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. I'm sure there's more legal terms in it, but I'm not a fucking doctor, and this is kind of how I look at it. But for me, some of the things I was doing, my behavior wasn't really right. I was withdrawing from people. I was on a path to just self-destruct. I was like doing everything I could to self-destruct. And then finally, I was able to, kind of get myself out of it with the help of family. And that's when I saw the doctor. And, of course, the first thing that doctors want to do is give you medicine and all that stuff. I started to take it a little bit. But, for me, and this is just me, and not everybody's the same. I don't like to depend on pharmaceutical drugs to get me through things. I feel that it just puts a mask over the root cause of what is going on. And I like to get to the root cause of it and try to, and this goes for if I'm sick or anything like that, and then heal that way. So for me, mentally, I had it, for the first, I would have to say for about the first year or so, I really depended on, they gave me Xanax to take, and that helped. But it made me tired, groggy, it just wasn't myself, and I didn't like that. And that just happens, and unfortunately in the position that I'm in with my normal job and stuff like that, another great thing would have been, because the state that I live in now, they've legalized marijuana for medical use and recreational and all that stuff. Marijuana is a great thing that does help a lot of people with PTSD, just kind of rewires what's going on. And it's not, you don't develop a dependency on it. You don't get addicted to marijuana. I don't care what you say, you don't. I mean, let's just face it. What, you're going to get addicted to getting munchies, and that's about it. You might get a little fat, but that's what happens. I mean, you're just going to like your orange soda just that much more, that bit of honey, and you just won't stop chewing. But in the position I'm in, I can't do that. So I had to figure out other ways for me to be able to get through it. One of the things I used to do a lot was for the people that listen to this that know me, know for a long time, I was in the gym. I was very hardcore about it for a very long time. And that part of my life, I kind of blamed the gym. Because I wasn't where I should have been, because I needed a mental day just to kind of check out from it. And I because of that, certain situations, luckily I made it in time, this and that, but still I blame the gym a lot for not being there. So for me, it took a very long time for me to get back into that. But, and I'll get into that a little bit more as I go in through. I'm going to go down a list I got a list of 4 things that I do that help me out to get me through. One of the main things that you need before we even get into this, to the lists, is that we need to recognize what our triggers are. And your triggers could be people, places, or things. And I highly recommend that, if you do suffer from PTSD, you need to take a step back and kind of look at that and like, okay, so what is actually causing me, to have these, all of a sudden I go to a place and all of a sudden I'm just so uneasy. My heart's racing. I'm having anxiety, a panic attack, and then I'm getting angry and all that stuff. You need to try to start to recognize some of those things. Like think back, like, okay, I was out last week and I started having an episode and it's like, oh, okay, I went there. This person was there, and try to start connecting the dots. I found that helped me out to start to recognize my triggers. And then I would pull myself away from those triggers, whether it's a person, place, or a thing. Like for me, I can't go to Walmart because I know Walmart's a huge trigger for me. I've gone to Walmart and and this is stuff that helps me get through it. And I try to do these things, and people might think I'm crazy for doing it and put myself in these positions, but I do it so I can heal. And that's probably something that I'll get into more on an episode of, how and what I do to heal myself from my PTSD. So this is the part 1 of my whole PTSD, because I'm not going to be able to do all this at once, because even talking about PTSD, and it's very hard, number 1, because there's a huge stigmata about it. But number 2, it starts to drudge up a lot of the memories that we that suffer from PTSD like to kind of keep at bay. So we'll get into that at another time. I want to make it through this episode and get it out to you. So this way you can, hopefully these 4 steps that I go through, really help, and hopefully it'll help you. The, first step that I do, when I start to feel really uneasy, and for me, it's the uneasiness and it kicks into anxiety and then just goes from there, and it can last days, if you don't catch it and pull yourself out. And I'll get into more about that. But the first thing I do is is breathing. Number 1, breathing. When you start to feel it coming on, just wherever you're at, just what I do is I step away. If I'm in a group, if I'm at a party, if I'm at a bar, if I'm at a restaurant, whatever, if I have to step away and go outside to my car, or go outside to get some fresh air, even go for a walk, just to breathe, and as I'm breathing, I'm trying to get my mind right. And I'm telling myself that what I'm going through isn't technically real. It's more of the emotion, the mental aspect of it, and try to just keep telling myself that. And there's times that that's not going to work, and it happens a lot, but when you start to control your breathing, you're able to start to, get everything under control. But I get it, because for me, when my PTSD goes and it goes into that anxiety mode, once I just start to have that uneasy feeling, the heavy, the heart feel like it's racing, the heavy breathing, and things are just getting, I'm overwhelmed. Sometimes breathing doesn't help. And that's when you have to go to step 2. And step 2 for me is, one of the things that sometimes helps is talking to friends. Just pick up the phone and call somebody and just talk. And by talking to somebody, and this kind of falls into step 3 and 4, not so much, but it's more of step 3 for me. When I start talking, it's a distraction. And that's the number 3 one, is distractions. You want distractions to help keep you occupied. But that's more so you don't get episodes. So I don't get episodes and stuff like that. But when I'm in an episode, when I'm a full blown episode, I have to just stop what I'm doing. And I've had them when I was on the motorcycle, I'm going and I just start feeling uneasy. I pull over. I've had to pull over before and sit there for probably about 2 hours with some people, and just to get myself under control with breathing and talking. But talking to people, friends, family, what have you, does help. It helps to heal your mind and know that you're talking to somebody that's real. So that's real emotion when you're talking to somebody that's real. Not saying that the PTSD isn't real emotion. And I'm not saying that at all. But it's, again, step 3. It's distracting you from what's actually going on and helping you just be like, okay, I'm going to be able to get through this. And they're going to be encouraging you to help you get through this and all that stuff. So talking to people is a number 2 thing for me to do when I'm in the mode. And sometimes I know it's hard to talk to people, and believe me, I bottled up, and that's when your episode can go for days. And sometimes I've had that happen where I don't recognize it, and I'm not talking to people about it. I'm not doing nothing. I'm withdrawing. And then it takes somebody from, a good friend or family member to kind of like pull me out of it by like, hey, you're not being yourself. What the hell's going on? You're doing this, this, and this, and then kind of sit back. And that helps you also figure out what your triggers are. Like what triggered you to get you into that moment. So I kind of utilize all that to kind of, because I really want to understand what my triggers are and why it happens. And I'm not going to fully understand it. And I know it. I don't think anybody will ever fully understand it. I don't even think doctors fully understand it. But, I just do these things just, in the whole, it helps me. So now going on to step 3, which is distractions. So distractions could be, and this helps me to, by keeping myself distracted, or, which also kind of falls a little bit into step 4 by keeping busy, hobbies is step 4, which is kind of keeping busy. But with step 3, it's, with the distractions, it could be anything from, having your pups, having, an animal, just, going for a walk, doing something around the house, whether it's cleaning, doing dishes, making a bed, doing laundry, your typical daily stuff, but it's distracting you from, keeping your mind occupied. And that's a key thing, because when your mind can wander, that's when you start to think. And when you start to think, that's when everything can start coming. So keeping yourself distracted, and this kind of goes off into hobbies, but when you're distracted, you're just kind of like, okay, you're not really thinking about it all the time. I mean, it does happen, but for me, I found by doing that, by keeping myself distracted with doing certain things, figuring out new hobbies, watching videos to learn new things, and just keeping going like that, my episodes have gone dramatically down. Not saying that I still don't get them, because I do. It's an everyday battle. Let's face it. If you have it, you know it. It's going to be a fight. And it's a fight that you're going to fight for the rest of your life. There's no cure for it. So don't believe them when they say, hey, this is going to help cure your PTSD by taking this pharmaceutical. Don't take the shit. I'm not a doctor. I shouldn't say don't take it. I'm not a doctor. Okay. So if it works for you, great. It doesn't work for me, so that's why I don't take it. But if it works for you, then do it. But if you're looking for a way to get off your medicines or anything like that, I wouldn't suggest ending it right away. Gradually get yourself off, and then, find these things to help you kind of get through it. But step 4, hobbies. And hobbies can be a whole slew of things like gym, motorcycles, working on cars, building things, a podcast that I'm doing, just a whole slew of things. Teaching myself, how to edit, how to video edit, how to, just keeping myself busy and distracted. So the whole key thing I figured is you gotta, the very first thing once you can get your head under control and you're not having the white noise in your head, so to speak, where you have this downtime where you can just continually think, then I found that helps me. Now, does it help with the nightmares? Does it help with the not sleeping and all that stuff? No, it doesn't. And believe me, I've had many, many, many sleepless nights. I've had many nights of having nightmares. I've had a whole slew of them. And, it just is what it is. But recognizing what's going on, and I know it can be hard because it's still hard for me. Just the other day I started, just feeling uneasy, and I'm just like, what the hell? And then your mind starts going, your mind starts racing. So then it makes it a hell of a lot worse. Sound familiar? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one that goes through that. So with that, I mean, that's when you got to recognize, okay, what I'm feeling is because I'm making something that's minute huge. And once you realize that, you got to, it's like blowing up a balloon. You start off with nothing, and as you're blowing up, it's getting bigger, 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 bigger. That's kind of what's happening here, where you start to feel that uneasy feeling, and then you start thinking, and it's like those thoughts start coming through your head, and now the balloon's getting bigger, bigger, bigger. You just got to realize that you have to release the air to go back to normal. And sometimes, by doing this stuff, that helps me be able to do that. On days that it doesn't help me, it's a little bit more of a battle, because I've gone through where I've been having an episode, and I hate to say it like that, but like calling it an episode, but I've gone 2-3 days where I'm just not feeling right. And I was having an episode essentially for like 3 days, and just feeling down, just feeling angry, and everything. Like you just want to rip, somebody looks at you wrong and you just 0 to 1,000 in 1 second. You're ready to rip somebody's head off. I mean, that's how I am. So with all that, I mean, something's going to work differently for different people. So keep that in mind. I hope these things may help you. I hope, even by talking about PTSD, your PTSD with a friend or a family member or something like that, someone that you trust, because, I get it. Trust is a huge thing when it comes to this. I don't talk to just anybody. I don't go up to somebody nilly-willy, just like, yeah, hey man, I'm just having a really down day. Oh yeah, by the way, I have PTSD. I feel that the people that do that, like, oh, I've got or they're just willing to come up to you and tell you that you got PTSD. I kind of look at them like, well, maybe you do, but for me and a lot of people I know that don't have PTSD, that do have PTSD, I'm sorry. They don't just all come out of the box and be like, oh yeah, I got PTSD, like all nonchalant. I did. Now, the way I tell people is like, hey man, I'm going to let you know, because like certain times of the year for me are really bad. And that's when my PTSD just fires the fuck up. And it's like, I'm on self-destruct. And I tell people, hey, these times of the year, and I explain it to them. I don't just say, yeah, I got PTSD. I explain it to them, yeah, hey, these times of the year, I do go through some stuff because I do have PTSD. Please, if you see me acting out of sorts, tell me. It's going to help pull me out of it. Those that just say, yeah, I got PTSD and that's it, I have a tendency to be like, yeah, I don't believe you. You're just fucking saying it. And those are the kind of people that just get me fired up. But yeah, I mean, those are the 4 things that I do to help me get me through my PTSD. And I guess a bonus one, step number 5 is remember that you are not alone. That is a key. And, sometimes you don't remember it at step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, whatever. I mean, and there's no wrong way of, these are just, I'm not going to even say steps. These are just things I do, you know, and it doesn't even, sometimes obviously it doesn't fall in order. It's not a, you know, follow this and you're guaranteed that it's going to get you through your PTSD. No, you don't have to follow anything in order. But these are the things that help me. And remember, you're not alone. There's millions of Americans, millions of people worldwide that suffer from PTSD, and they don't even, you know, there's millions of people that don't even know they have it. They just uneasy, get angry real fast, get sad real fast, think of suicide, this and that, you know, and unfortunately we've lost a lot of people from suicide because of PTSD, you know, either misdiagnosed or they didn't, you know, and that's the thing, because when you're going through the episode, you don't think you have people, that you don't have anybody there. And I get it, because that's how I feel. But you have to, and that's why you gotta like put your foot down, breathe, and be like, okay, this isn't real. I have people that care about me, and then you go, boom, I'm going to call somebody. And just have in the back of your head that there's people out there. There's hotline numbers that you can call, that people can talk to your friends, talk to your family, father, brother, sister, mother, whatever. Talk to whoever. This way it gets you pulled out of that episode and get you on to the next day, you know, and take it, if you have to, take it day by day. Hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second. Make it through each day, and you learn your triggers, and you start to learn to live with it, essentially. So I hope this helps. If there's anybody that listens to this that does suffer from PTSD, definitely leave a comment below. If you'd like to reach out, the email is laoch@laochwhenthehammerdrops.com. Feel free to email me. If you suffer from it and you don't have any outlets or people to talk to, I'm here, man. I'm here for you. I'll more than happy email me. We'll talk through there. And if you need to talk to somebody on the phone, I will shoot you my phone number via email. So this way you have somebody to talk to, text, whatever you need. Remember, you are not alone. That's the main thing right there. Now, I'm going to do a call to action. Definitely check us out on we're on all the major podcast platforms. We are on video, but I'm not shooting video for this one. That's part of it that I'm not going to share when I'm talking about this kind of thing, but I will provide the links for all of our social media podcasts, links. I'm not going to give you all the links. Just know we're on every major platform, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. Our website has everything on there as well, from blogs to, and I actually have a blog on there about PTSD. That's a very good one. Definitely go check that out in the blog section. And definitely share this episode with your friends. If you know somebody that has PTSD, share this with them. It's hopefully going to help somebody out. If I can help one person, that's all I care about. I'm not looking for anything else but to help. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoy the episode. Again, review it. Throw me a review down at the bottom. Give me 5 stars. Let me know what you guys thought. And until the next time, be good to each other.